Welcome back to Bible and Culture with Dr. Armstrong. I'm Dr. Armstrong. This is the second in our Homebrew Hebrew series. We're just going to be doing some quick introductory videos to Hebrew language. I'll be talking a little bit about pronunciation and vocabulary mostly, and these videos are designed to supplement the course I'm teaching at Oklahoma State University, which is Introduction to Biblical Hebrew. But I'll make them available to the general public for now. If people aren't very interested, then I'll just kind of not worry about making them available. I'll just do it for my students, and I'll save my YouTube channel for more higher quality, more polished content. We'll call it polished content. In the meantime, let's just talk a little bit about the vowels. So last video, I talked about the consonants, the Hebrew alphabet, and now I'm going to talk about the vowels. So the vowels are also called nikodot, and these are added in here. She put them at the bottom. This chart, by the way, this Hebrew alphabet chart was designed by Shoshani Schmaltz. It's available on Amazon for $14 as a poster. You can put it up while you're brushing your teeth every morning and memorize the Hebrew alphabet and practice with it, learn how to pronounce it. So she's not paying me or anything. I don't know her, but she made an awesome chart for the Hebrew alphabet. There's tons of information on it, very concise, and it's awesome. So that's the one I'm using right now. And I will be diving into the vowels now. These are called nikodot. Nikud right here, this means point. Nikodot are points, and basically the Masoretes designed this system of vowels, a vocalization, we also call it vocalization, because they wanted to preserve their tradition of reading the Bible. Now, the Bible was originally written without vowels for the most part. We talked a little bit about some exceptions in the last video, but the Bible was written mostly without vowels. So let's say, here, let's just write in a word. Let's say, Avicha, okay. Avicha, here we go. Aleph, Bet, Yod, Kaf. All right, so the Masoretes have this consonantal text. They have the consonants there, and they have a certain way of reading it. And just like in English, if I have this word right here, you might say it's contract, but I might tell you I meant contract. Usually in English, from context, we can tell which one it is, but a clever poet can make you second guess and do a little word play with it. So in Hebrew, usually you can tell what is meant without the vowels, but there are differences. And so the Masoretes, they have one tradition of how to read these consonants, and they wanted to preserve it. So as they read out loud, they preserve every sound that they hear, and they didn't want to touch the actual text of the Bible, which is the consonantal text. They didn't want to touch those consonants. So they wrote out the text of the Bible. These are amazing scribes, very highly trained scribes. They wrote out the text of the Bible, and then they created a system of adding dots, points, above it and below it. All right, these are not the vowels. Sorry, I should maybe put the real vowels. Above it and below it, so that way they don't have to touch the text of the Hebrew, but then they create a little commentary about how to read the Hebrew. This commentary became the vowel system. They also added in cantillation marks called the te'amim, which is a system of music, a musical system. If you ever had to do a bar mitzvah or a bat mitzvah, you probably remember having to learn how to sing a passage, how to sing your parasha in the Torah. But there's the cantillation marks, the te'amim. They are not just music; they also are punctuation. We might do that in a future video one day, but for now, I'm just going to focus on the nikodot, on the vowels. So this is a vocalization. This is how the Masoretes read the Hebrew Bible. There are other traditions preserved of ancient readers of the Hebrew Bible, specifically the Septuagint, what is called the Septuagint, the Old Greek. There's actually several Greek translations that are all kind of lumped in and often called the Septuagint together. The Old Greek, the Theodotian translation, Symmachus translation. So there's a couple of Greek translations. They often read the vowels a little bit differently. And we have these texts preserved so we can see these different interpretations in ancient times. We also have ancient Aramaic translations. We have at Qumran, we found a couple The book of Job, we have found a Greek Aramaic translation of Job, possibly two of them, or two manuscripts of the same translation. And then we also found an Aramaic translation of Leviticus. Not sure if that's a full manuscript, it's just a fragment. Not sure if it's a full Leviticus or if they just translated a section for other purposes. Anyway, neither here nor there. The point is we have other traditions of how to read the Bible. So these, the vocalization, the vowels that we're going to be learning today were added about 1,000 years after the Bible was written. All right, let's dive in. Nikodot. So these right here, we're going to go right to left on the Nikodot right here. And I'm going to start in here on the right with the schwa. The schwa is written just like this. And here, what I'll do is I'll write some practice letters. Let's do the aleph. Boom, just like that. This is an aleph. And so schwa is going to be written like this. Now schwa, this comes into English. We talk about schwas in English. In schwa, the main one that I think about is in the word the man, the woman, the beast, the monster, the tornado, the storm. That little sound in the E, it's not a long E. It's not a, it's not a they. It's a really short like that. Sometimes we'll write it like that. I think usually in English, we write it as a upside down E. So what is it going to be like a... let's try this again. Boom, right here. There we go. That's how we usually write it in English. That's our schwa. So I say schwa because I learned it as an English word, but schwa is a more modern Hebrew pronunciation. And so this comes into English as a schwa, and we use it with the word the or sometimes. And it's just kind of a super duper short vowel, sometimes even silent. In fact, in Hebrew, when you see it, it is usually silent. I would say usually silent. And in modern Hebrew, it's even more often silent. Modern Hebrew does not follow the rules of schwa, silent or vocal schwa, that the Masoretes had. So you might hear me, the way I pronounce it won't correspond with the rules that you might learn from when and when not to pronounce a schwa. And so don't worry about that for now. For now, just try to say it silently unless you actually have to say it. So this is, it's silent unless you have to pronounce it. If there's a consonant cluster or something like that you got to break up, or like a guttural, a lot of times we'll make the silent schwa. We'll just say a little bit of a schwa there, a little bit of a vowel there, just to kind of break that up a little bit. So schwa for now, pronounce it as silent. Just like the aleph, so this whole thing together you would pronounce as, because you remember the aleph is silent and the schwa is also silent. All right, next, this vowel right here, this is known as a kametz. And so kametz, okay, kametz, gam, kametz. This is known as a kametz, and this kametz is a long sound. So schwa, I'm going to put this, you know what? Let's mark this way. Then we've got I'm going to put it under an aleph again. This vowel right here is a long so this is like international oh, perfect. Yeah, she has a with an AH. That's pretty good. That's a pretty good way to remember. Maybe I should put it in like that. So this is a long and it's it looks kind of like a cross, cross in the road, intersection. Maybe that's how you can remember it, the cross way. And so there's a long Now we have the patach. Patach is going to be a short Let's write it under an aleph. Here, you know what? Let's go right to left here. Write it under an aleph, like that. And in modern Hebrew, we don't have any difference in pronunciation between kamatz and patach. We say them the same in modern Hebrew, kamatz and patach. We don't really pronounce any different. But the Masoretes heard a difference between those two and preserved that difference when they wrote it down. So let's do this. This is a and it's like that. And this is short long and schwa right here, and this is going to be like that. All right, so now we don't have to come out here so much. We can stick under the chart. Segol. All right, segol right here. Take this down. Segol is going to be an A sound. An A sound. Sometimes sefer. Sometimes I'll pronounce it a little more like a like an English So if we put it under an aleph, it's 3 dots, and it's going to be an A sound. Yeah, A sound. Okay, sefer actually is tsere. What do we have? What's a good segol? Anyway, maybe we'll think of something else. There's a tsere over there. Okay, so let's go now to the... Okay, so these are she's doing the half vowels now. So if you see a schwa mixed in with any other vowel, so we have these schwas mixed in. Schwa mixed in with any other vowel, it's going to be pronounced just like the in the. So you've got the kames chatuf. The kames chatuf is going to be like a really short You might put it as let's do this. It's going to be like like a little and then if we have the patach chatuf, it's going to be like this, and we'll do another short and then the segol chatuf is going to be like this, and it's going to be like another little short E like that. All right? So they're all going to be pronounced basically the same. When you see that schwa, if it's mixed with another vowel, you're going to say a little bit of a If it's not mixed with another vowel, try to say it silent if you can for now. We'll talk about the exact rules later. Now, tsere. Let's move on to tsere. Here we go. Tsere is pronounced as a. It's going to be, here, let's put it as under the aleph here. Put it under the aleph. Boom, 2 dots right there. It's a longer A. It's international A. Usually modern Hebrew, we don't often pronounce the tsere and the segol very different. Usually you hear on both. Erez, Eretz, Sefer. Usually they're pronounced pretty much the same. So don't worry too much. The dots are the E's. And let me... We'll come back to this. Okay. Meanwhile, we have an E sound. So if there's 1 dot under the aleph, it's going to be an E sound, like international E, like the letter I in English. I, if you must. E sound, like I as in, what do we say with the E, with a hard E? Anyway, maybe I'll think of something later, but she helps you out. She gives you the pronunciation instead of the way the scholars write it, which is a E. And so that's very helpful. The chirik, it's called a chirik, and it goes under it's just 1 little dot. It's an E sound, okay? This teams up a lot with the yod. Remember, A, E, I, O, U, and sometimes Y. The yod is sometimes a vowel, and a lot of times you'll see a E sound like that. So this would be pronounced E. This means an island, actually. Aleph yod with a E vowel underneath it. And we also teams up sometimes with the long A as well. So it's a long E or a long A, and it's going to be an A sound in this situation. Either way, you'll see yod team up with it a lot. And when you see this vowel or this vowel in front of a yod, it's going to be, you pronounce the yod just becomes part of that vowel. All right. And we're going to practice reading with these in the next video. So don't worry about it too much. I'm just kind of blasting through. Made a video so you can rewatch if you want to, and you can practice sounding these out. The kibbutz right here is 3 dots underneath, and this is a oo sound. It's oo, international oo. We have an oo sound here. Ooh, ooh, ooh. 3 dots is ooh. I guess you can remember it's like ooh, ooh, ooh. Ooh, ooh, ooh. The 3 dots. Ooh, ooh, ooh. That's how you remember. Now you'll never forget it. Ooh. The kibbutz is a ooh sound. Next we have the cholam. The cholam is at the top. She gave you a consonant to go with it. In modern Hebrew, you almost always write the vav as a placeholder for the cholam. So up at the top, we have a little dot right there, and this is an O sound, cholam, and this is called a cholam vav when it's with a vav a lot of times. So remember, just like you have a yod, I'll talk about those in a minute. For now, just remember this little dot right up here is an O sound. Then, if you have a dot in the middle, actually this is going to be, you're only going to see that with the vav. The cholam right here, dot above, is a cholam. There's a cholam vav, and the shuruk is going to be a U sound in the vav. So if you see, all right, let's talk a little bit about maters, matras lecciones. These are called reading mothers in Latin, matras lecciones. So what they did was, within the text of the Bible, there's already a couple of placeholders for vowels. And you might remember we talked about this in the last video. Specifically, the yod makes an E sound or an A sound sometimes. And when the Masoretes hear that, they teamed it up with one of these two. So the yod and the EAs team up sometimes, okay? Second, we have the vav, which historically was a w sound, right? And that teams up with an O sound or a U sound right there. Uwa, owa. You can hear it already, right? Uwa. So sometimes it makes a U sound or a O sound. These are the sometimes vowels. So for example, let's make a little example here. If I wanted to say house, I would write bet, yod, tav. This is what it's going to look like in the Bible. Then the Masoretes, they're like, okay, well, I want to remember, I want to record how I'm hearing this. So I'm going to put the itzere in there. So this is beit, beit. So this yod, this placeholder, is a placeholder for a vowel. And the Masoretes added the vowel in too. Whoop, bing, right here. So you've got beit right there like that. Now let's say I wanted to say bean, which means in between or to discern, because you discern between things. It can mean understanding. So I have bet, yod, nun, bean. Now what do you think? How do you think the Masoretes are going to write this one? Chirik, right there. Boom, bean. Just like that. So the vowel works with the yod and it becomes a mater. We call this a mater. And that means a reading mother. Matras lecciones. Matras lecciones. The reading mothers that kind of help us read it. Matras lecciones. I don't know who started calling them reading mothers. I don't know if that's going to hold up in the 20s, but this is the way this is the way we still call it in Hebrew. Okay. Finally, the last one that we have that's going to be used with vowels. So there's the vav, the yod. Do you remember it? It is the hey. Now, hey is at the end of a word, and hey is usually going to be, let's say it's, let's do yelda, okay? So yod, lamed, dalet, hey, yelda. So yelda is a girl. Yeled, yelad means to be born. A yeled is a boy, and yelda is a girl. So at the end of this, yelda, you don't hear it's not yelda. The hey is actually a placeholder for this little vowel right here, yelda. And so we've got this placeholder. The Masoretes would put in little comments there. Or they would put in if it's yelde, it wouldn't be yelde. What's a good one with the A sound? Every once in a while it's going to have an E-class vowel, but usually it's going to be yelda. You're going to see the comments hey at the end, and every once in a while you'll see like an E-class vowel at the end. But we're trying to remember all these nikudot. One thing that's going to be helpful is that the dashes are ahs, and the dots are E's or A's. All right? So we've got the dashes. Boom, boom. These are class vowels. The dots, whether it's 1, 2, or 3, these are A-class vowels or E-class vowels that we call them. All right? So the one dot is an E, like you dot your I. So if you've got, let's see, over here, one dot is an E. Let's circle this one. One dot is an E. Three dots is the short A, and two dots is the long A. You don't have to remember too much the difference between the long and the short for now. That'll come into play more with more advanced Hebrew. But for now, just try to pronounce it and get used to saying A, E. All right? So dots are usually E's or A's, and dashes are A's. I should always put this in here, so you remember how to pronounce it. Ah and A. Ah and A. There we go. Ah and A. All right, so we've got the A's, we've got the A's. Finally, yeah, we've got these. These are the oots, oohs. Okay, so let's go back to the maters. If I have a vav, let's say I want to say yakum. Here, let's write it in real Hebrew. Yakum. All right, yakum. Yakum means he raised up. All right, so you have yakum here. And it's going to be this vav right here. This is how it would have been written in the Bible, at least with these consonants. They didn't write with cursive handwriting, but they would have written these consonants in. The Masoretes are like, okay, well, I hear this. I hear a ya here, yakum right here. Let's put the dot there because the shurik, you might remember, with a holum, the vav shuruk, is going to be our U class vowel. Yakum. All right, there we go. So we're going to practice more with these later. And I may make another video right now real quick about just pronunciation practice. Thank you very much.